Greetings, fellow philosophy enthusiasts and truth seekers. Welcome to my channel where we delve into the fascinating world of philosophy, exploring the profound ideas that have shaped civilizations and continue to challenge our understanding of ourselves and the universe. In this series, we embark on an intellectual odyssey, tracing the footsteps of history's most influential thinkers, from the ancient wisdom of Socrates to the modern complexities of Fuko. Our journey will take us through the winding paths of metaphysics, ethics, political philosophy, and beyond. Prepare to engage with the strengths and weaknesses of their arguments, to grapple with their enduring questions, and to discover how their insights illuminate the human condition. We'll dissect their core concepts, analyze their impact on history, and most importantly, explore how their ideas remain relevant to our lives today. So, whether you're a seasoned student of philosophy or a curious newcomer eager to explore the labyrinth of human thought, join me as we embark on this captivating exploration of the minds that dared to question everything. Let the journey begin. Our philosophical pilgrimage begins in the bustling marketplace of ancient Athens, where we encounter a figure both revered and reviled, Socrates. Imagine, if you will, a man of humble origins, unassuming in appearance, yet possessing a mind sharper than any Athenian blade. Socrates, unlike the sophists of his time who charged for their teachings, believed in the pursuit of wisdom through dialogue and relentless questioning. His famous Socratic method, a dialectical approach of probing questions and critical analysis, challenged Athenians to examine their deeply held beliefs, often revealing contradictions and prompting a search for deeper truths. While Socrates left behind no written works, his legacy is preserved through the dialogues of his student, Plato. It is through Plato's writings that we gain glimpses into Socrates' profound influence on Western thought. Socrates' emphasis on self-examination, his unwavering commitment to truth and virtue, and his belief that the unexamined life is not worth living, continue to resonate with us centuries later. However, Socrates' relentless questioning, though undeniably insightful, often led to more questions than answers. His focus on abstract definitions and the pursuit of absolute truth, some argue, neglected the practical realities of Athenian political life. Furthermore, the absence of his own written word leaves us to grapple with the interpretations of others, raising questions about the authenticity of his teachings. Our philosophical journey now leads us to Plato, Socrates' most famous student, a man who not only inherited his mentor's passion for truth, but also expanded upon it, constructing a philosophical system of remarkable depth and complexity. Imagine, if you will, Plato seated amidst the tranquil gardens of the Academy, the world's first institution of higher learning, which he founded, shaping the minds of future philosophers and leaders. Plato, deeply influenced by Socrates' emphasis on reason and virtue, developed his own distinctive philosophical system. Central to Plato's thought is the theory of forms, which posits the existence of an eternal, unchanging realm of perfect forms, representing the true essence of concepts like justice, beauty, and truth. These forms, according to Plato, are the ultimate reality, casting shadows upon the material world, which is but a pale imitation of these perfect ideals. In his seminal work, The Republic, Plato outlines his vision of an ideal society, one ruled by philosopher kings, individuals uniquely qualified to govern based on their understanding of the forms. Justice, for Plato, is achieved when each part of society performs its designated role in harmony. The Republic, a work of profound political and philosophical insight, continues to spark debate and inspire both admiration and criticism. However, Plato's theory of forms, while intellectually captivating, has been criticized for its abstract nature, detached from the practical realities of human experience. Furthermore, his vision of a philosopher king ruling over society while intended to promote justice and harmony has raised concerns about potential authoritarianism and the suppression of individual liberty. Welcome back to the channel, fellow truth seekers. Today, we delve into the fascinating world of Aristotle, a student of Plato and a giant in his own right. While Plato ascended to the heavens of abstract forms, Aristotle kept his feet firmly planted on the ground, emphasizing observation and the natural world. Aristotle gave us the building blocks of logic, a system of reasoning that forms the bedrock of scientific inquiry and philosophical debate even today. He stressed the importance of empirical evidence, urging us to trust our senses and gather knowledge through observation and experimentation. This emphasis on the real world led him to make groundbreaking observations in fields like biology and physics. But Aristotle wasn't just a scientist, he was deeply concerned with ethics and the good life. He believed that true happiness, or eudaimonia, could be achieved through living virtuously. Unlike some philosophers who offered rigid rules, Aristotle advocated for the golden mean, a path of moderation between extremes. For example, courage, a virtue, lies between the extremes of cowardice and recklessness. However, like all great thinkers, Aristotle's ideas weren't without their flaws. Some of his scientific theories, like his belief in a geocentric universe, have been disproven by later discoveries. His concept of virtue, while insightful, can seem a bit vague and open to interpretation. And, like many thinkers of his time, his views on women and slaves reflect the societal biases of ancient Greece. Greetings, my friends. Today we journey into the heart of the late Roman Empire, a time of great upheaval and spiritual transformation. It's here we encounter St. Augustine of Hippo, a philosopher and theologian whose ideas would profoundly influence the development of Christian thought. Augustine's life was a tapestry woven with threads of intellectual curiosity, spiritual yearning, and personal struggle. In his famous Confessions, he lays bare his soul, chronicling his journey from a restless youth to his eventual conversion to Christianity. This deeply personal and introspective work continues to resonate with readers centuries later, offering timeless insights into the human condition. Augustine grappled with the problem of evil and the nature of God's grace. He believed that humanity, tainted by the original sin of Adam and Eve, is inherently flawed and incapable of achieving true righteousness on its own. It is only through God's grace freely given that we can find redemption and salvation. This concept of original sin and divine grace became central to Christian theology, shaping Western views on morality and the human condition. However, Augustine's emphasis on sin and grace has drawn criticism over the centuries. Some argue that his pessimistic view of human nature can lead to despair and discourage moral effort. Others question his reliance on faith over reason and empirical evidence. Despite these criticisms, Augustine's intellectual and spiritual legacy remains immense. Welcome back, fellow philosophy enthusiasts. Today we journey to the heart of the medieval period. Here we encounter Thomas Aquinas, who sought to reconcile Aristotle's philosophy with the Catholic Church. Aquinas believed faith and reason could work in harmony to reveal truth. He saw Aristotle's logic as a tool for understanding the world created by God. Aquinas' Summa Theologica systematized Christian theology, drawing on Aristotle. His work profoundly impacted the Catholic Church, shaping its doctrines for centuries. Rene Descartes, what a mind. Born in a time of intellectual upheaval, he took it upon himself to rebuild knowledge from the ground up. Can you imagine the audacity? But Descartes wasn't satisfied with the shaky foundations of tradition. He wanted certainty, a bedrock of truth upon which to build. So what did he do? He decided to doubt. Not just a little bit of skepticism here and there, but a systematic, radical doubt. Everything was up for grabs: the senses, the world around him, even basic mathematical truths. Imagine questioning your own existence. That's the level of depth we're talking about here. Now, you might think that this path of doubt would lead to despair, to a kind of intellectual nihilism. But that's where Descartes takes a fascinating turn. He realizes that even in the midst of all this doubt, one thing remains undeniable. The very act of doubting itself implies the existence of a doubter. Cogito, ergo sum, he famously declared, I think therefore I am. This, my friends, was a revolutionary insight. It shifted the focus of philosophy from the external world to the internal world of the mind. It established the primacy of subjective experience as the starting point for all knowledge. Now let's talk about Emanuel Kant, a giant of philosophy. Imagine trying to synthesize the rationalism of Descartes with the empiricism of Hume. That was Kant's ambitious goal. He wanted to bridge the gap between reason and experience to show how both contribute to our understanding of the world. Kant argued that our minds aren't just passive recipients of information. They actively shape and structure our experience. We perceive the world through categories like space, time, and causality, which are imposed by our minds onto the raw data of our senses. It's like our minds are wearing a pair of glasses, shaping everything we see. But where does morality fit into all of this? Kant believed that morality must be grounded in reason, not in emotions or societal norms. He proposed the categorical imperative, a universal moral law that we can discover through reason alone. Essentially, it says, act only according to that maxim by which you can at the same time will that it should become a universal law. In other words, if you wouldn't want everyone to do something, you shouldn't do it either. Kant's philosophy is complex, but his impact is undeniable. He redefined the boundaries of reason, reconciled it with experience, and offered a compelling vision of universal morality. His ideas continue to shape debates in ethics, epistemology, and beyond. Karl Marx, a name that evokes strong reactions even today. Love him or hate him, you can't deny the immense influence of his ideas on history. Marx wasn't just a philosopher, he was a social critic, an economist, a revolutionary. He looked at the world and saw inequality, exploitation, and the struggle for power. At the heart of Marx's thought is his critique of capitalism. He argued that capitalism, despite its claims of progress, is inherently unstable and exploitative. It divides society into two classes: the bourgeoisie, who own the means of production, and the proletariat, the working class who are forced to sell their labor. This division, Marx argued, leads to alienation. Workers are alienated from the products of their labor, from the process of work itself, from their own humanity, and even from each other. This alienation, he believed, was at the root of many social ills. Marx envisioned a different future, a communist society where class divisions would be abolished and the means of production would be owned collectively. His ideas sparked revolutions, inspired social movements, and continue to shape our understanding of economics, politics, and the very nature of power. Friedrich Nietzsche, a philosopher who illuminated the shadowed corners of our intellectual landscape. Nietzsche challenged morality, religion, and truth, urging us to cast aside convention and embrace human existence. He declared, "God is dead," recognizing the waning influence of traditional values. Nietzsche's philosophy calls for self-creation and forging meaning in a world devoid of inherent purpose. He introduces the Übermensch, an aspirational figure transcending conventional morality. This concept is about striving for self-mastery, creativity, and personal excellence. Nietzsche's writings reflect the passionate spirit of his ideas. Ludwig Wittgenstein transformed our understanding of language and thought. In his Tractatus, he defined the limits of meaningful language. Later, he stated, "Whereof one cannot speak, thereof one must be silent." His later work, Philosophical Investigations, viewed language as a tool for action. He introduced language games, showing how context shapes meaning. Words like check vary in meaning across different contexts. This shift had profound implications for philosophy. Jean-Paul Sartre, a towering figure in existentialist thought, confronted the human condition with a raw and unflinching gaze. At the heart of Sartre's philosophy lies the radical notion that existence precedes essence. Unlike objects, humans are born into existence without a fixed nature. We are free to define ourselves through our choices and actions. This freedom comes with the weight of responsibility. Sartre speaks of the anguish of freedom, the realization that we are the sole authors of our lives. There are no preordained values, no external authority to guide us. We are condemned to be free, to create meaning in a world devoid of inherent purpose. Michel Foucault, a name synonymous with postmodern thought, dove deep into the intricate relationship between power, knowledge, and social control. He argued that power isn't just something wielded by those in authority, it's woven into the very fabric of society, operating through various institutions and discourses. Foucault's genealogical method, a historical approach, meticulously traced the evolution of these power structures. He meticulously deconstructed concepts we often take for granted like madness, sexuality, and punishment, revealing how they've been shaped by shifting power dynamics throughout history. His work encourages us to question established norms and examine how power operates subtly and pervasively in our lives. Foucault's ideas are especially relevant today as we grapple with the influence of institutions, the media, and technology. His work continues to challenge our assumptions and provoke critical thinking about the systems that shape our world. John Rawls, a towering figure in 20th century political philosophy, sought to establish a framework for a just and equitable society. His masterpiece, A Theory of Justice, introduced the concept of justice as fairness, arguing that a just society is one we'd all agree to if we designed it from a position of impartiality. Imagine, Rawls suggests, that we're behind a veil of ignorance, unaware of our social status, talents, or even our own conceptions of the good life. From this original position, we'd be compelled to create a society that guarantees basic liberties for all and distributes social goods fairly, ensuring that even the least advantaged are not left behind. Rawls's theory has had a profound impact on political thought, sparking debates about distributive justice, social welfare, and the role of government. While critics argue that his theory is overly idealistic, his emphasis on fairness and equality continues to resonate, particularly in discussions about social justice and the distribution of resources in our increasingly unequal world. And there you have it, a whirlwind tour through the minds of some of history's most influential thinkers. From Socrates' relentless questioning to Foucault's deconstruction of power, we've barely scratched the surface of the vast and fascinating world of philosophy. But remember, philosophy isn't just about memorizing names and dates. It's about engaging with these ideas, grappling with their complexities, and seeing how they apply to our own lives and the world around us. Which philosophers' ideas resonated most with you? What questions do their theories raise in your mind? Let's keep the conversation going in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to stay updated on our latest explorations into the realm of ideas. And be sure to ring that notification bell so you never miss an episode. Until next time, keep thinking deeply, questioning boldly, and living wisely. See you soon.